I feel like in a day and age where like social media is super prevalent, then you have, the opinions of family and friends, teachers, colleagues, your boss, your manager. Criticism is just something that is super prevalent, and like the opinions of others. So today on growing this episode of Jade, I wanted to really make a video on how you can effectively reframe this. um, I think it's good if I share a personal antidote with myself. So I work in a cleaning business, and I didn't realize with cleaning companies you receive so much feedback. If it's not from my coworkers, it's from my boss, and then it's from the clients. And each house is completely different, and that's their space, so they're going to be you know critiquing that. That's someone's personal space. Like, it's not like a coffee or food. In hospitality, there's a lot of feedback. So I receive so much feedback nearly every single day. Can't escape it, but I don't want to escape it, and I don't think you should too. The biggest mindset reframe that I can simply give you is refinement over criticism. What I mean by that is, don't look at it as criticism, don't look at it as a like reflection on your self-worth. Look at it as a reflection on your performance, and then look at it as like, okay, I need to refine my performance. I really like, I'm pretty sure, I forgot his name, but there's this motivational speech on YouTube called Good. Um, and I loved it. So basically, someone keeps explaining their hardships and something they're going through, and he just repeatedly says, Good, that's good. Um, because I am a soul believer, and when there is bad, the polar opposite, good, will derive from that. And yes, we can pull good from any bad situation. So, for example, my boss basically turned up the pressure again and said, you need to get better by this date. So, urgency, criticism, guys, I can't pronounce words sometimes, that's okay. Criticism. And in my head, I could have gone two different pathways. I could have been like, I'm doing a terrible job. I don't belong here, and I'm really scared. Those thoughts did come up because I am human, but I reframed that into good. This gives me more pressure to become better, to perfect myself, to do well, to work harder. Like, what's the saying? Like, pressure grows diamonds. Okay, so I need that pressure to grow, to become perfect. And I am a big astrology girl, by the way. So my boss is a Virgo, and I love Virgos because they constantly refine me. My parents were Virgos, my sisters are Virgo, most people I know is a Virgo. I'm a Capricorn, by the way. So I'm used to constantly being refined and perfected. I don't like the word perfected, but Virgos push me to grow out of my comfort zone. And yes, like, as I say in a lot of my videos, most of life is what is happening to us, and the only thing we can control is how we respond. So why not choose to positively reframe every negative experience in your life than doing the opposite and like letting that define you? Because I got told, like, someone was disappointed at my work, and I feel like when I hear that word disappointed, it's like huge. Like, you can take that as a detriment to your self-worth. But I was like, no, I'm solely going to look at it through a working lens, and I am going to do better, I'm going to be better, and I'm going, to try my best. Another personal antidote is, I failed my driving test nearly 3 times. I also nearly failed the third time, but he let me off. The second time was really bad. I actually cried. Her criticism, like, it wasn't even criticism to that point. She was taking like personal digs at me, like basically humiliated me in front of a line of people and said, you know, your driving is dangerous, you probably can't drive, blah blah blah. I could have taken that and just really self-pitied. I took that and I was angry. I was pissed. Like when people, you know, criticize me to that point, I don't get sad. I get angry and I was like, okay. So next time I walked in there, I held my head high and I was angry and I was like, I know I can do this. That delusional self-belief really kicked in, and that spite. And I took what I could from what she said. So I think she was like, you're not signaling right. I was just a bit anxious. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure I do that. And yeah, I completely reframed that and was like, I will take what I can from what you said, but I'm not going to believe, you know, your personal digs at me. I'm going to switch that. So it's really how you reframe and just try and utilize every point of feedback. But there is a point where, like, some people are literally just taking digs at you, and you can really tell the difference when it's just not constructive. And you're just like, what? Are you taking your anger out of me? Like, what are you projecting onto me, mate? Like, yeah, there's been so many situations now that I'm realizing where I've, you know, dealt with a lot of criticism, and the criticism that fuels me the most is actually the criticism that isn't constructive, that I know, okay, you just don't like me, like you're trying to take a dig at my self-worth. Like there was one job and I was trying to become a supervisor, and we did a meeting and she was basically saying you can't become a supervisor because you're super quiet, like just hits at my personality. And I was like, wait, this has nothing to do with, you know, actually working. Anyway, so I kind of accepted that. But then over time, as she saw me deal with high pressure situations, she did ask me to become a supervisor. You know, so it's like sometimes there is criticism and insults. It's just about knowing the difference. Always try and see what you can take from the feedback. But if there's genuinely nothing and you're like, okay, you know, this person is just projecting some insecurities onto me or they're manipulating me, try to still turn that into fuel. Because, like, in this day and age, we're going to use everything and everything we can to become better, to grow, to build better. Even if it is someone like insulting me, use it for fuel to become better, to spit in their face. I call it the spite boomerang. I just made that up right now. Use, when they insult you, use it as a spite boomerang to spit back in their face and be like, hello, look at me now. I love doing that. That is what I live for. So yeah, that is my episode on dealing with criticism, feedback, hate. You got it, guys. You got it.